Just wanted to point out the information we provide today is of a general advice. If you do want some more information, please seek some professional advice.
Well, welcome to another episode of Retirement Living Your Way podcast, where we have real conversations with Troy Theobald and the team from RFS Advice. My name's Greg Black, and welcome, Troy.
I was going to be funny, but yes, welcome. Greg, how are we today?
Very good. It's been a hectic day, and we're actually joined by Brooke Riewoldt. So welcome, Brooke.
Thank you, Greg. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure's all ours. So Brooke's one of our advisors within the RFS team, and the two of you had a very busy day.
We did. We had live to air this morning.
Fantastic, and that was I think, Brooke, that's the second time that you've been on the airs with Troy and Colin.
Correct, it is. It was second time in the last year, which was nice.
Fantastic. And look, for those of you that aren't familiar, we actually have a monthly talkback show on 4CRB where every month Troy and Colin talk about all things retirement, and a lot of the topics and a lot of the points that the boys discuss is really around things that we're seeing within the business at RFS Advice, feedback from the station, which has been fantastic, and really sort of talking about those sorts of issues that are really front of mind. And I think today's episode was, I was listening it from the office, and I know half the team were, which we're all quite excited to hear Brooke on the station. and I think it was a really good one. It was all sort of looking at the important factors for ladies over the age of 50, but really it's more important, probably a bit broader than that. Troy, do you want to just sort of give some context about why you thought it was important to sort of cover that off in today's monthly talkback session?
Yeah, it's something we probably find that just empowering ladies to reach out and get some advice, get some support, and knowing that it's there, because it's not something that's really publicly put out there. And where do you reach out? How do you reach out to? And we do find a lot of our ladies are referred by their friends, unlike blokes that don't talk about anything. Ladies do seem to actually discuss these scenarios and ask for referrals. And it really came out, we had a group of ladies who are even empowering together and not sharing their financial information as such, but making a joint decision and interviewing advisors and advice firms just to get a greater understanding of education and everything as well. And then we look back, Brooke and I as well, over the clients that we've looked after, and it was having it broad, because if we look at females that are making these decisions, some have it thrust upon them due to health or other issues of a partner or anything. Could be through divorce, the grey separation or the grey divorce that's happening out there. Could be a health issue of a partner that they're now needing to take that front foot. So, Brooke and I were sort of talking it through, and there's so many paths that got them to there, but when they do get to that situation, there's probably some common themes.
No, absolutely. And I think it even goes broader within our business. Obviously, you're sort of spearheading the ladies Let's Talk concept. So do you mind sort of touching on, I guess, where that came about and how that sort of evolved?
Yeah, absolutely. As Troy mentioned, we're starting to see quite a theme of ladies coming in that are wanting to take more financial control of their own position, and that might be because they've had financial dependence in their life, or they may have seen that secondhand through friends or family and have seen what adverse events can occur from not having a complete control, education, understanding around their own finances and the security that provides as well. So I guess our Ladies Let's Talk program is really about creating that space to help empower females and provide a no judgment free zone where they can ask the questions that they want to know and can educate themselves, and we can provide that training and education to them, as well as the confidence that they need to be able to make those decisions in life and enjoy the journey of life as well, comfortably and securely.
Yeah. No, I think it goes back to your comment earlier, Troy. Men don't necessarily want to talk about things.
No, they're terrible.
I know you and I are pretty hopeless at that. So I guess it makes sense having, for those that feel more comfortable having, all ladies, to talk to from an advice perspective. And obviously we're very fortunate at RFS Advice. I think 65% of the staff are females. We've got half the advisors are females. So we're in that fortunate position where we've got the expertise as well as the empathy that comes along with ladies being a little bit more empathetic than men to a point. Yeah. So,
and we did discuss that this morning. There was around that there are, I think she did call me old this morning, but
I can confirm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those of us have been around for a longer period of time.
Wise.
Yeah, wise. We'll go with that. But from that perspective, that there is sometimes they need, the male to take on the other alpha male if there has been that scenario as well. So we do find some ladies we do have to help with that.
Yes.
Happy to take that role to help and support them, but others are wanting either an all-female team those somewhere in the middle. Normally Brooke and I both in there for those, just to give both perspectives. And I think that gives a more rounded, better outcome.
Absolutely. It's about catering for all different preferences out there, which people will have from time to time.
So this morning, I guess when you've seen the work you've been putting in behind the scenes with this, you sort of touched on a few areas around security, independence, legacy, health, confidence, because it really is quite a complex web.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're the key themes that we see seem to be front of mind or causing the underlying anxiety for people before they walk in our door. It's often that's what they start to really unleash when they come in, what they want help with, where they're unsure of what direction they're in or what they should be doing, and then where they really want to lean on that professional guidance is in those key areas across the board.
And Troy, is it changing? Like, are you finding that, you've been doing this for a very long period of time. Sorry.
Same age as me, Greg.
I know I had to go there. Yeah. But are you finding that, obviously, if you have a look at demographics, we know that women outlive men, okay, and that's what the stats are sort of showing us. Are you finding that it's changing? We're getting more people coming into the office. Like, from my point of view, we seem to be getting more inquiries coming from ladies sort of making the inquiry. Has that changed from your experience?
Absolutely. I think they're finally feeling empowered to reach out, whether it's the messaging and everything we're trying to do. Brooke constantly talking about making non-threatening, non-judgmental. Yes. We're not trying to have any barriers and break those down, so people can just come and have a conversation. So whether that's helping or more broadly across the board, whether it's ebooks and scenarios, things like this podcast, that people can get some information. They can do that in a not threatening way and then be comfortable to reach out. And that's really what it's about. That's, as Brooke keeps saying, that empowering. That, I'm at a point I want to reach out. I know I want advice. And, who should I reach out to and then how?
Absolutely. Like, information is definitely more accessible than what it was decades ago. And money and finance are definitely more in the conversation day to day than what they were 20, 30 years ago. That used to be a very hush-hush topic, particularly for females. It was normally the males of the household running the finances. As that's coming out as more of a common conversation, there's more online education, it's on TV, we see these discussions being more broadly had between friendship groups as well, which is where we've had this group join as a collective. They've made that decision on what direction they want to go. They keep everything separate, but they wanted to make sure they both had that same trust and feel towards who they wanted to engage with as a firm there. And it's really bringing those issues front of mind, and females typically do want to actually have a plan and understand why they've got that plan in place, what the outcomes are, and have all the plan B, C.
Yeah, and I think that was going to be my next question. Was the first sort of point we spoke about, or that you mentioned this morning, was around security and having that financial security. So when people are approaching RFS Advice and they're wanting to talk about this, do you find in your experience, and Troy, please jump in as well, do you find that that's really the first thing? It is that financial security, knowing that they're going to be okay financially, because that sort of plays into all parts of their life.
Absolutely. It's definitely that financial security that they're really seeking from the get-go. And then they want to know what happens if X, Y, Z happens, and all the potential outcomes or strategies that could be down the future. That could be aged care costs, health-related costs, giving back to the kids or the community. They want to have a look at what each of those scenarios look like, whereas, not to pick on men here, but typically they're a little bit more invincible and don't necessarily think about the what-ifs that could happen out there, whereas females typically do want to have a plan in place and that peace of mind in the back of their head so that they can go out and enjoy retirement and do what they want to do out there.
Troy, any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, and I mean, we caught up with another couple just since the radio as well. Same thing. It's just allowing her to have that empowerment to understanding and giving them time to get the understanding and the information that they need. And that's probably a common theme we get to see over and over again. And with ladies, it's knowing where they're at today, what it could look like, but what if this happens? What if that? What if that? So they probably tend to be, I agree, 10 steps ahead. If we had the men in the room, they'd walk in and go, yeah, great, the return, I can spend that out the door. Ladies are wanting to know, but what if this happens? What if that happens? All right, what if markets drop? What if things fall? What if there's a change of circumstances? They want to know those answers. It's not something that's definitely they need to know today, but it's something let's have the discussion and know we can deal with it in more detail and granular later. A bit like off the back of this, we've got some more granular we want to do in another podcast.
Absolutely.
That's around the granular detail. This is around the whole, the concept-wise, and hopefully we can just give people a power to reach out and go and seek some advice and seek some answers and some help, because sitting at home and all feeling overwhelmed, really the whole idea of a lot of our podcast and education series is giving people that confidence to be able to reach out and take that next step.
And I don't know whether you can answer this, but I know that, talking with family and friends and things like that, where ladies have gone to get advice, and I guess a perfect example is, if my wife wants to buy a new car, she gets a different experience if she goes and has those conversations, and which is a shame, but I think that's the reality of it. Do you find that in our world it can be very complex what we do? And I think sometimes it's very easy nearly to brush it over. Oh, look, we've got this. You don't need to know about it. It's a fine line, isn't it? It's between what the client, we want to make sure that they feel comfortable and they understand it. Do you see much of that?
No, exactly that. They just, because people don't want to be told, I've got this, you won't understand it. That's not what
we do.
No, that's not what we would do. But particularly, from a female perspective, it's very condescending.
Because my wife would hate that, and
mine would too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just
and there's fundamentals that they need and should understand as well, and that's where the education plays the role. Then we're not expecting people to walk in the door and know everything. That's
no.
We're the experts in the room there, but we're there to help teach as well. So when they're making these decisions, we can help break it down into simple language so that they understand the fundamentals as to what the options are, what each scenario looks like, why it's important to be considering or thinking about these things, what risk tolerance looks like, and investment risk, and all sorts of different questions that they might have. It's breaking it down into an easy language for people to understand that might not have come from a finance background, because that's going to be a large majority of people out there.
And what would be one of the top questions that you would get when people come in? Like, they're in that scenario. What would it be? Is it, have I got enough money to either retire? Have I got enough money to do the things that I want? How much is enough? What sort of, because when you think security, and it's different to every person, but is there any sort of common threads or common questions that people come to us from your experience?
Yeah, I think we've got to even take a step back from that to give them that space to feel comfortable to even talk about what they've got, because that's, do I tell this person you're a stranger?
Which is fair,
and it's opening up your life's work of good, bad, and everything indifferent, and going, well, here's the outcome I'm like. Is this achievable? How do we help people get to that position? And we're very non-threatening with that. We're just, ours is a conversation of where you're at today. What assets have we got? What's our realistic goals we'd like to achieve? And is that something that we can achieve? And for a lot of people, we had people in last Friday and we were joking around with this couple, but from their perspective, he's, time frame for work. Her question is, do we have enough? Which the answer was, yes, you could give up tomorrow.
Yes.
Why is that? Because the numbers are more than clear. So it's interesting watching that thought process in a couple, even between the husband and wife, where her outcome was, well, yes, we can do that lifestyle today. He's, but do I have to do this? Do I have to do these other things? So it's, from that perspective, it's just giving people information so that they can make the choices to when it suits them.
Yeah, no, that's and one of the things that when I'm just sort of looking at some notes here, one of the things we've done a number of sort of client seminars with 4CRB over the last sort of 12 months, and a lot of people that we're sort of that actually come in and listen to the seminar. It's just, I guess, a realisation what we do in our day-to-day professional lives at RFS Advice and how we work with clients. It's very different to what people think.
Correct.
And I think that's probably hopefully people get a sense of this through the podcast. It's nearly 95% emotional. It's the real world. It's what's important to them, and the 5 or 10% on the numbers, because the numbers are the numbers, and you can show them and work with them on making sure they maximise and get the most out of everything in that side. But it's all the other side, and I think that's probably the challenge with people coming in, and especially I feel for those that have been put in the situation where they haven't had to worry about managing the finances because it's been a team, and then unfortunately that team is no longer, and whether that's the passing of a spouse or they're not able to cognitively look after. I feel sorry for those individuals, because it must be very daunting all of a sudden having that level of responsibility.
Absolutely, particularly at a point in their life where they're dealing with other stresses outside of the finances. They're either dealing with the loss of a partner or an illness affecting the family. It's not always the easiest time to then be trying to teach or learn a whole new aspect of life that they haven't had to deal with or be dependent on in previous years there as well, which is where we are starting to see a trend of more couples coming in together to do that education together and make sure that they know that their partner's in capable hands and has someone to lean on for advice and guidance in that space prior to issues occurring. So we are starting to see that preemptive thought process come through the door where they want to make sure that their significant other would be looked after if something were to happen to them.
Which is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, from our perspective, we always make sure we explain to both members of the couple how we manage money, our theory of managing money, what we believe, what's going to happen in far as reweighting each quarter, basics of how we believe people should, manage their portfolios, manage their drawdowns and manage those safeguards and buffers. Now, there's always going to be one in a couple more interested, but I'll always explain it to both. And even with that, one of you is definitely probably more interested than the other, and the person who's not interested generally goes, yeah, I don't care. But it's still important to know.
Yes.
Because if the statistics are that, if someone passes, it tends to be the male first, that a massive number go out and seek a new advisor. Now, I'd be horrified if that happened. We hadn't satisfied that need for that couple, that they didn't feel comfortable with us. That would be, I'd be disgusted if that was the outcome at RFS. But because we've had that conversation, making sure that, all right, they don't need to know all of the intricacies if they don't, but they just need to have enough knowledge there. We're going to explain it as to how it works, why we do this. There is a theory and we've got a process.
Yes.
And, generally that sets them on that education journey that Brooke's talking about, that at some point they'll probably put their hand up and go, actually, I'd like to learn more about this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they also feel comfort in knowing that they've made that decision as a collective prior to anything happening, so they can take solace in knowing that their partner believed that this was the right process to be doing, and then they lean more into that education and engagement side as well.
Yeah, because it's really hard around that. Like, we've got ladies we're helping, one I can picture her who's in their townhouse and hates it, but in their perspective, he didn't want her to have, they had a bigger bit of land and everything there, and there'd be too much upkeep, all those things. That was his wishes. Moved into there, she's really uncomfortable now, but that was his wishes. Hard to undo because now it's the fear of how do I sell it, how do I move on. Lots of well-intentioned ideas, but all those sorts of things. So it's just giving people that sounding board of how do we help and permission for that reset of, this is, unfortunately, we're dealing with some of these. It's today forward.
Yeah, spot on.
That's what we got to deal with. What it's horrible and all those things, but here's what we've got, and here's where you want to get to. And one of our ladies there, I'm really proud of. She's out riding bikes all over the place, everywhere. When she joined us, if you had have said this person was going to have these most amazing adventures, so people can really go on a journey with the right environment. She's put herself out there, the right people, surrounded by the right people, and people can blossom.
And how long did it? I know everyone's different, but how long does that process take? Do you find, like, for that client? Is it?
Some go through it. It's a long process. Yeah. It's not over.
No,
but others.
It's a journey.
Others don't want to move forward.
Yes.
And just want someone there to deal with that. And we've got other ladies that that's I come in, I do this. No, I'm okay financially. Yep, great, out the door. That's what I want. I just want to deal with that, sort it, move on. That's okay as well.
Yeah, no, that's and then what about going down and I know we've got a large client base at RFS Advice, and we see lots of different scenarios and the like. What about those that may have been widowed for a while, and then all of a sudden they've got new partners coming onto the scene? Because that must be a challenging time when you've got two mature people coming together, very separate. I know clients certainly appreciate the fact that they've got either of you or both of you to sort of talk to them and be that sounding board.
Oh, they love it when we introduce lawyers. That's a great way to fill the passion of the new relationship, if that's where you're delicately going to.
I was sort of going there, but I thought I want to be subtle.
That's pretty much how I'm going to address it, because it just needs to. Because it's something that at a point, if someone's got significant wealth, someone doesn't, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room. It's standing there. We may as well talk about it. There's no point ignoring it. Australians, we tiptoe around these things. It's like, you know what? You want to get on and do what you want to do. You can put some things in place there. That's where, you don't want that to be the reason not to move forward and have a nice life. So it can be dealt with. It just needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. Well, I do say you call a spade a shovel sort of thing. There's no backwards in coming forward with Troy, is there, Brooke?
No, not at all.
But again, I think it's the honesty and having, the conviction to have those difficult conversations, because at the end of the day, if you don't have them with that individual, then we all know what the consequences can be.
Absolutely, and that's what that we are there for, to do our job, and we wouldn't be if we weren't having these difficult conversations, and that goes across all different aspects of the advice that we provide as well, whether that's if someone's spending a little bit too much, and it also goes on the other spectrum, if they're not getting out there and doing what they could be doing, then we give them a nudge on that side of things as well. So it's having those conversations when and how they're needed.
And that even goes to that next generation, unfortunately. Yeah, there was one in Brisbane recently. We got a call, we need to see you now. We went, okay, this won't be a fun meeting. Never is when you're doing it long enough, and being able to help her with what she needed to deal with, which was the reality of, what are these things I've got, testamentary trust, all this, Troy, I've got weeks. I need you and Brooke to sort this. Yeah. So it's helping with that. Okay, we want to talk to the kids, we want to talk to the accountant, we'll sort this for you. You can deal with what you've got to deal with, but just get them in touch and we'll help through that. So, you never know when they're going to pop up, unfortunately, but from that perspective, we spoke to the daughters there. They were super appreciative someone was there to help.
Have to be.
Someone was there to help Mum, and she'd managed her affairs with us for a very long period of time, and probably, pre that was in a situation exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We never had to deal with the finances. It's, it's one of those things can be just thrust upon people very quickly.
Yeah, you never quite know, do you?
No.
But just the peace of mind, especially for the overall family, let alone like the individual, is critical.
Yeah.
But it just must calm the situation down a little bit when it's already an emotionally charged time. When you're getting to that point, that's
they're the controllables, and look, everyone's got a well-intentioned, and we've gone through some of these counselling courses on different things, and I say to people, you don't let people should all over you. Should do this, you should do that, and ladies go and ask friends, and we've got a referral to Brisbane for a lady whose husband passed, and she'd gone to the person she saw as reference, and he went, no, Troy and Brooke will come and run through this with you, and he'll be there as well, which would be nice, just to run through, because what is it that she wants, not what everyone else has told them that they want.
Yes.
And it's well-intentioned, but it's really easy to go, you should run 10Ks, Greg. Well, you know what, running 10Ks is hard and it's difficult. So it's easy for me to say that, walk out the room with no consequences, but you've got to do the hard work. So, you should just sell that property and whatever. Well, you know what, that reminds me of someone. I don't want to. Maybe I never want to set foot in it. It could go 180 either way, but you're the one living through and dealing with that situation, and that's the type of environment that we try to create where we can have those open conversations around those type of issues.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, isn't it? It's really just, if you're in that situation, it's just having the conversation.
Absolutely.
And from our point of view, obviously, we're always there to have those conversations with anyone that's in that situation, that's looking for advice, that's either looking to simplify, unsure, because at the end of the day, this is probably where it really matters.
It is, isn't it?
To a large degree.
And like Brooke and I have been through that, and the other start, they're hard conversations. My wife always says to me that you're there as a professional to help them. Yeah. So us sitting there and being all over the place and fluffing doesn't help.
Yeah. You
need to get in and help that situation and help those people through that. That's probably when they need you the most.
I'll just change tack a little bit, and Brooke, we'll get you back to do another podcast, as Troy mentioned, just going into some more of the micro details on some of the things that people can do. I'm just interested, though, in, I guess, the difference between males and females around. This is very dangerous, I know, but just in relation to some of the things that they're thinking about, because you said they're always planning more and things like that. So do a lot of your clients coming to you that they want to help with the education of children or grandchildren? Do you find it's more of the family unit is where their first thought goes?
Yeah, well, this is a bit of a danger zone.
I say.
Females, I definitely think that they definitely are more, I guess, biased towards helping the kids, and they want to have more of that experience whilst they're there to see that journey. So they want to be able to support the kids through their first homes or helping the grandkids through school, those sorts of educational endeavours, as well, as definitely something we see the females tend to lean into more than the males as well. That's just, I guess something that we do see from the female side of things there.
Yeah, okay.
It's also got to be not to their detriment, which is the other conversation we sometimes have to have,
Yes.
which is it's great to give, but if you don't have it to give, then we've got another problem ourselves. So
Yes.
sometimes we do have to just taper that enthusiasm back a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But typically females, they just want to know that they're going to be okay. They just want to understand what the limit is, what is sustainable over time, and what they could help out with along that journey as well.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Look, I think I'm just conscious of time. I must say you do a fantastic job at RFS, Brooke. You're an absolute superstar in the business, and I think I get to see clients coming in and leaving, and I get same with yourself, Troy. You see the relief when people leave the office, because sometimes it's a little bit especially the newer clients that aren't sure of the process, and I often meet them at the when they come into reception and meet with Kaylee, and then if I see them on the way out, they're just more relaxed, and I think that in itself speaks volumes of the quality and the depth of conversation that you're having with clients. I love what you're doing with the Ladies Let's Talk. I think that's fantastic. I know you do a couple of little events throughout the year where you might have bubbles and things like that, where bring the ladies in and have a bit of a chat. So I think that's a great initiative, because most tend to like that. I don't know whether that's you driving that or whether that's just what they like. But
That's what I said to Colin. He said I didn't attend the flower making. I went, no. I did not.
We're seeing that females definitely want to band together a bit more, have that social connection, not necessarily talking about the finances, but be surrounded by like-minded females in that space.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And look, for those interested, there's a lot of information on the RFS website, so that's rfsadvice.com. The show notes from today, being the 20th of October, will be up shortly, and there's some really good information if people would actually like to go and have a look at the content that Troy and Brooke have pulled together, as well as the recording from 4CRB will also be there. So, Brooke, thank you for joining us. It's been fantastic.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
And Troy, it's always a pleasure, mate.
Pleasure is yours and mine.
Fantastic. Until next time, thank you.
Thanks.